Hi, I'm Rich Geldard. I'm a technical director at Criterion, working on the Star Wars VR mission.
Hi, I'm Jeff Seamster. I'm the director of audio and narrative here at Criterion.
Sure. I oversee the programming team to ensure that they're delivering up to the quality they need to, and that there's nothing getting in their way of their day-to-day work. So I facilitate the coding team.
What is it that I do? Well, what I do is I work with our audio and narrative teams to give creative direction on basically anything that you hear in the game, whether it's music, voices, sound effects, and then on the narrative side, I work with the team to do narrative development, what stories we're telling and how we're telling them with our characters.
Overall, I'd say it's actually quite a similar process from start to finish. We do some things very common here. So at the start of any project, we'll straight away look into prototyping, look into proving out concepts, what's fun, what we want to do. And with VR, it's very much the same thing, that the first stage of the project is really learning about what works in VR, how is it different to a normal game, and how can we really make the most of VR to produce the best experience. So yeah, kind of you have that starting prototype stage and then move forward into development. And in development-wise, it's quite similar. You have slightly different challenges as you go through. Like we have to prioritize frame rate, for example. But yeah, it's very similar to what we're used to.
It is different. One of the things that we noticed straight away when we started working inside of VR with audio is that our ears are much less forgiving in VR than they are in other video game experiences. So in other words, we're used to working with either stereo speakers or 5.1, 7.1 surround speakers, or just straight stereo through a pair of headphones. And the human ear is very good at filling in the blanks in terms of what's missing in your usual video game experience. But when we started immersing people in virtual reality, the fact that you feel so immersed in that experience and you're able to look in every direction with your head has made it so that we actually have to patch in all those holes quite deliberately with any of the audio that we do. So it means that we have a very, very fully fleshed out soundscape that we have to design.
No, we wanted to really start off with a small experience that really could get people excited. So we thought if we can create a 20-minute experience that we can give away for free, then it shows people where the potential is within VR. It really gives them the opportunity as a very low barrier to entry to see where the potential could be. So we kind of aimed to do this kind of thing, and I think we've pulled it out really well.
We have, and keep in mind that this is also a proof of concept for Electronic Arts as well. This is the first virtual reality project for Electronic Arts, and so this was a mission of discovery for us, not only as a studio, but also as a publisher.
Not for us. I mean, we have a brilliant relationship with Lucas. They are fantastic to work with. We're very tight with regards to communication and feedback. It's a really good open relationship that's worked very well. Jeff can probably talk more for the story side.
Yeah, it's as you say, it was quite a lot to take on all at once. It didn't happen overnight. It's not like we jumped in both feet to all of these partnerships. VR is something that we've been experimenting with for years, actually, at this point inside of Criterion, and we had a great relationship working with DICE already on both Battlefield and the Battlefront franchises, and so this very naturally led us into creating a VR experience inside the Star Wars universe with DICE, and so we used this opportunity to establish a partnership with Lucas, and working with them has been, of course, incredible because it's a bit of a dream come true on our part. You know, from the sound standpoint, now I'm getting to work with sound effects from movies that were, you know, my dream as a kid. And so working inside of that space, not only with sound, but also being able to tell a story inside of the Star Wars universe, massively exciting for us. Lucas was wonderful to partner with on this because they They helped us to shape the narrative that we were telling, and they also helped us to place the story that we were telling inside the Rogue One universe. I think the key for us going into this, and it wasn't so much of a difficulty as it was a very intentional design directive, which was that not only is this EA's first venture into VR, we're also very aware that this is going to be the first virtual reality experience for many of the players who jump into the cockpit of the X-Wing. So we could have gone off in any number of directions, but something that was at the back of our mind the entire time we were doing development was we need to make this not only excellent in terms of delivering on the childhood fantasy or adulthood fantasy of flying an X-Wing starfighter, we also needed it to be something that gamers from in every range of experience could jump straight in, feel very comfortable. You'll notice inside of the mission itself, we sort of step up the engagement, the immersion, and even, I would say, the difficulty as you go through to be very welcoming to players from all backgrounds.
From our point of view, we were given the Battlefield franchise, which already has some well-established simple controls for the user. We have an immediate entry level that everyone already knows how to use it. Our challenge then is how do we make that the best experience in VR to allow the player just to play the way they want to play it and to fit that in. So as a studio, we've rewritten the handling from the ground up to make it feel as you would expect it to feel when you're actually inside it, which is different to when you're looking from behind in a camera.
VR, one of the most important things we've taken away from working on this project is solidifying in our minds that VR is here to stay. And where VR will be most successful, who knows what shape that will take necessarily, but it very quickly becomes, for players of all experience levels, very second nature, to the point where we now can't imagine a future without VR gaming. And the fact that that clicked so quickly for us means that it's something that's well worth investing our time into, and in fact, working on this project has opened the doors for any number of possibilities. All we can think about is what we'll make in VR next.
And you?
As a studio, we got this opportunity because we've been prototyping and experimenting in VR for 2 or 3 years so far. As soon as the early dev kits were out, we had them just to experiment, see where we could go. We've got such a passion within the studio to create experiences that go beyond what you can get with a controller looking at a screen with a person running around. You're actually living in the world with VR, you're experiencing it, you're moving around. It adds that level of depth and that level that we can put into stories and put into the experience that just adds more believability and makes it deeper and richer. And I think it's hard to not view that as an exciting future.
What would my dream be? Are you asking me which license I would like to work on next? What kind of game I'd like to make? Because honestly, the thing that we did is not just a dream for gamers. I mean, it was a dream of most of the developers inside of our studio. The fantasy of flying an X-Wing has been one of mine since I was probably 5 years old. And so naturally, I'm asking myself, what other fantasies, whether they're from cinema or even real-world experiences, would I like to be able to do next? And that takes you in all kinds of directions. I'm not committing to anything, naturally, but if I ask myself, could I be Indiana Jones grabbing the idol off of the pedestal? Could I be, somebody inside of a Jurassic Park movie running away from dinosaurs? It's the beauty of VR is that our imagination is the limit. And so what are we going to work on next? What do we want to work on next? I'm like, bring it on. Give me all of it.
I think that's the passion of the studio is there is so much excitement around what we've done with this experience. And you could ask that question within the context of Star Wars, where do you want to take Star Wars? Or you could ask it about complete franchises. I could list for about 10 minutes the different things, like Millennium Falcon, obviously fly next to Chewie, or gun one of the turrets, or things like that. Or you can go and look at other space things like Firefly and say, what could you do with that franchise? Or you could look in desert, or in Dune, or there are so many different opportunities of where this can be taken. It's a matter of where can game teams take it, and we're hoping to get that spark of inspiration out from what we've demoed we can do.